One of the foundational responsibilities of parents is to transfer their value system to their children. This value system should be framed around the recognition that God is our Creator and Heavenly Father. Admittedly, this cannot really be done in a classroom setting, but it must be done intentionally. It cannot be accomplished by assigning a strict set of behavioral rules, which the parent then legalistically enforces upon the child. Rather, it is taught through behavioral modeling, gentle instruction, and consistent correction. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7 describes the process by which parents should impart their values to their children. Parents are told to take advantage of these key times throughout the day, when they're at home, when they are engaged in life's activities, when they are putting their children to bed, when they are beginning their day. Parents are commissioned to impart their values and monitor the way they are applied in their children's lives through real-life interactions and conversations throughout the day. The living God intended for the dynamic relationship we have with Him to be introduced, modeled, and transferred through the loving, interactive, and involved mentoring of the parent to their child. All this work was to be accomplished within the context of belonging and connecting in the family. My parents, Jim and Joyce Lane, were married for 40 years. They had 3 children, me, Leslie, and Janet. We are the Lane family. I would not be able to tell you how many times my parents pointed out behaviors they observed in us or our friends that did not reflect the Lane family values. They would say, "We are Lanes, and Lanes don't do that." My parents were demonstrating in real terms that there is a value, identity, and connection in a name. When I became a follower of Christ, imagine how easy it was for me to transfer what my parents had taught and modeled for me into a new family with God. I have a Heavenly Father, and as the head of our family, He has values and principles that reflect His nature and character. It was easy for me to hear in my heart, "You are in God's family now, and in God's family, we don't do that. We don't say that. We don't act like that." Additionally, it was easy for me to understand the importance and value of a good name. I learned that one of the great responsibilities of a family member is to represent the family and uphold its good name with your words and actions no matter where you go. As I read Paul's admonition to the Ephesians, I read it as a family value statement. But sexual immorality and all impurity or covetousness must not even be named among you as is proper among saints. Ephesians 5, verse 3. I know that it is related to our good name as followers of Christ. As I continued to mature, my parents made it clear that they were monitoring the influence of my friends. How much impact would they have on my behavior? That was always the question my parents wanted answered. If my friends were doing something that I knew was wrong, would I join in or refuse to participate? Even more, would I boldly object, use my influence for what I knew was right, and point out what I knew my peers were doing was wrong? If I could not stand against the pressure of a wrong influence from my friends, then my parents would limit my involvement with those friends. My mom and dad showed me how to recognize when the tug of my friends' influence was more than I could resist. I began to evaluate my friends' influence, distinguishing what they did for the good, the not so good, and the bad. I learned to determine what effect they had on my attitudes and behaviors. When I left my parents' home, got married, and had my own children, I had a firm understanding of the importance of a good name. I remained aware of the ways others influenced my behavior, so I chose to spend my time with people who encouraged me to maintain positive thoughts, decisions, and actions. With the foundation my parents laid, I was able to establish my own parenting patterns that would help my children gain the same understanding of the people who were influencing their lives. I did my best to pass on what I had gained from my own mom and dad. I wanted to teach my children how to exert their own positive influence on those around them and how to measure the impact they received from their friends' influence. The Apostle Paul wrote, "Bad company ruins good morals," 1 Corinthians 15, verse 33. I sought to help my children understand that this was true and would remain true all of their lives. When I was growing up, my parents often said, "If you lie down with dogs, you will wake up with fleas."